every now and again, one of these episodes is inspired by one of our clients. Today, I had a great check-in call with one of our current clients. Some of the conversations we were having, some of the revelations we were having, I felt there were really, were a lot of value to them, because I believe it's around a problem that a lot of people face when they are following a training program, a running training program, where they are hoping that if they can just keep working through a program, no matter what the life factors are around that are happening to them in their life, that if they just kind of keep pushing through and maybe just keep making adjustments and making those, and just kind of skipping a few sessions here and kind of skipping ahead every now and again, it's going to be okay. But in this case, there was significant burnout on the horizon, significant overwhelm on the horizon, both physically and mentally. And it took a quick call this morning for us to kind of just reassess, look at the line in the sand, this event that he'd signed up for initially, that really had only given himself 18 weeks to achieve, which is a fair timeline to work from. He was a fairly experienced runner, but more importantly, what it didn't take into consideration was the life factors that were coming up over these last couple of months and what's coming up over the next couple of months beyond that. So in this time frame, there are some significant life and business work factors that are going to be taking shape in his life, that when you're trying to navigate and you're trying to work towards high performance, you've got to be taken in consideration to try and squeeze this, that type of training, high volume training into a very busy lifestyle. It takes a hell of a lot of management, management of energy, management of recovery, management of injury prevention. You're trying to balance a lot of factors. And when your mental bandwidth is distracted, it creates an environment where injuries and overtraining and fatigue just creep in naturally. For us on this call today, it was a very quick, hey, look, let's just assess where we're at. We're 8 weeks into the program. He was struggling to get the sessions done, and rightly so, because he was distracted because of a family situation and a work situation going on where his energies were needed elsewhere. He admitted quite clearly that in the past he would have crammed these sessions into his week, or he would have just skipped ahead with the program, missed, essentially I think he had missed maybe 40% of the sessions so far within the space of 6 weeks. And even with the level of accountability, there was things going on in the background that we were navigating. And today was about us resetting that vision and going, right, let's draw a new line in the sand. We're going to push back that marathon date, and we're going to look ahead, and we're going to go, right, let's clear the decks. The expectations that you've set yourself weren't fair from the start. The event that you're looking to put in the calendar, actually on reflection, wasn't the best date you set for yourself because of these things that are going on in your life. And by us pushing that back, immediate relief. Okay, immediate relief visually on the call when we were speaking. But essentially what you're doing as well is you are definitely deloading that individual. You're de-stressing that individual. And this is what I want to give you the authority to do for yourself. Because I believe a lot of people, because of the addictive personalities that a lot of us have, we can't help but set ourselves a goal and we've got to achieve it. And sometimes that goal is something we've just created ourselves, and we've drawn a line in the sand, we've drawn a time, we've given ourselves a particular time frame to achieve something, and then that's it. We're completely bought in and we have to do it. And I understand that, but not when it is detrimental to your health. And in this case, it was significantly affecting mental health, as well as potentially compromising his physical health. Having this maturity to step back can take a certain level of accountability. He was having these thoughts, but wasn't acting on them. Us having a call today gave him the authority to say, do you know what? I'm going to step back. I'm going to reassess that event. I'm going to put another event in the calendar, a month, 6 weeks further back into the year. Immediately giving him that ability to now kind of bring his, to manage his overall training load, bring that training load back up slowly, instead of leaping ahead, or instead of just trying to kind of cut corners. This is how you prevent injury, guys. This is how you improve the longevity of your performance, by making these types of decisions. Now, I'm not saying as a coach, we always want, we want to see everyone that we work with achieve the goals that they set out to do, but not at the detriment of your health. How many people are entering competitions, giving themselves very unrealistic timeframes, trying to cram in this training around complex lifestyles. They're trying to put more and more training load onto bodies that potentially aren't maturing quick enough, don't have that depth of conditioning and strength and conditioning yet. They don't have that depth of fitness on them yet. They may even get to the event and they may even do the event, but then they break down afterwards. They're completely exhausted. They are completely uninspired to continue training beyond that. How often are we seeing this? It's more often than we realize. It's because we're trying to force this narrative. We are creating these harsh expectations on ourselves. And whether you're an experienced runner or a beginner runner, it's understanding, it's being fair to yourself, understanding that there is a complexity, which is your lifestyle. And when we set goals with anyone we work with, when people are coming onto program with us with high expectations, it's like, yep, we got you. We're going to take you on that. We're going to keep you accountable. We're going to keep you accountable to all the areas of your training. We're going to make sure you're fueling appropriately, make sure you're recovering appropriately. But it's also a hell of a lot of managing expectations. As we are checking in on a week-to-week basis, where's your head at? Are you able to still focus on the training at hand? Do you have the mental bandwidth? Do you have the appropriate energy availability right now? Because training is generally a lifestyle for people we work with. And I don't know about you guys listening, but you love to run, you love to ride, you love to swim, you love to hike, you love to be outdoors. When that's taken away from you, and we work with a lot of people who've had that privilege taken away from them through injury, through setback, it's because they've been following some form of generic training plan. They've been given everything they want to do or think they need to be doing. So more volume, more intensity, week on week, just get it done, turn up to the sessions, get them done. And actually they're not being held accountable to should you? Do you need to? How about we consolidate for the next week or so? How about we just pull back a little bit for the next couple of weeks, get over this next couple of weeks of whatever's going on in your life, moving house, having a baby. The list goes on and on. But it is these important decisions that you'll make. These are the pivot moments where you either pull back, consolidate. You don't go backwards. You're just doubling down a little bit. You're just like, right, I'm just going to make sure I'm in a good place. I'm going to tick the boxes, but I'm not going to continue to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. The hard question comes is whether you can manipulate that timeline. Are you in a place to adjust that A race? That's always a hard decision in this case. But a lot of the time, a lot of the expectations we're placing on ourselves are just around training. A lot of the time we are expecting ourselves to be in a certain place within weeks or in months, whatever that expectation is. And actually, is that a reasonable expectation to set depending on what your lifestyle is giving you right now? In this case, with this individual, no, it wasn't. But the long-term play, guys, and I'm talking about the next 3-6 months, it's nice thought to be thinking about 5-10 years down the line, even further down the line. These are the behaviors that are going to give you that longevity within your sport, within your active lifestyle. But it does take this level of stepping back, assessing the situation, assessing all the variables. So the biggest flaw that we see people not considering is that what else is going on in their life. People are plucking these programs off the shelf, they're off the internet. They are trying to fit these generic methods, training apps, programs onto a complex lifestyle, which is your life. You are trying to fit it in and around complex moments in your life, whether it's, again, having babies, moving house, new promotions. There's always this complexity that comes with living, looking after your families, commuting, whatever it is. How are you managing that training load around your lifestyle? How are you preventing these warning signs of overreaching, like where you are simply not getting enough recovery in, not getting enough nutrition in, you're turning up to your sessions in a state of fatigue, where you're distracted because you're thinking about work more often than not? It's okay to have these moments within a training program, but it's what you're doing to manage those moments. If it's you in your own head, and you're a highly motivated individual, you're probably just going to plow on ahead. Now, what are the decisions that you're going to make in those moments? It's probably just to crack on. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to skip ahead a couple of weeks, and I'm probably get the volume and the intensity is going to jump up 10-15%. You may even get away with it. But is that logical? Is that going to be the reason when you look back and go, do you know what? That was probably why I'm experiencing these sudden random moments, spine experiences, tendon issues in my Achilles and my hamstring. I'm starting to pull up with some calf issues. Because people are, you can't help but jump ahead because you're trying to get to that end result. you're doing it in a way that is just overloading yourself. You're overtraining yourself. And again, it can come innocently, but with a little bit of accountability, a strong sounding board that is going to give you that just that opportunity to speak your mind, you're going to probably come to the same conclusion. Actually, do you know what? I just need to back off a little bit. I need to dial back the volume, dial back the intensity a little bit, get on top of the non-negotiables, which is probably I need to prioritize my sleep. I need to prioritize my nutrition. I need to prioritize the A sessions within the week, not back on the noise. These are the decisions that prevent injury, guys. These are the decisions that prevent overtraining. And all I can say, guys, coming off the back of this conversation, and the point of this podcast today is just, I want to speak to that voice in your head sometimes and to say, hey, look, I want to be that second conscience for you, because sometimes that's all you need. You need that little confirmation. And today, literally all I did was listen and say, do you know what? You're right. You go with those thoughts. You need to reassess that event you've placed, 9 weeks away now, and go, do you know what? Do I need to be doing that right now? No. Could I reassess that goal and push it back another 6 weeks? Yeah, no problem. Does that then relieve and give me that instant relief in terms of how I'm going to try and build up that training volume? Yes. It's going to now allow him that bandwidth. He immediately gave himself that mental and physical bandwidth to now just get back on track after a complex couple of weeks navigating family and work life. So many of us rely on our training as a way of managing our mindsets, of it's an anchor point, myself included, but it can be abused. We can abuse that. We're all guilty of abusing that. How you manage your training load, how you manage your expectations does and will define your body's levels of health, the levels of performance, but it is also what promotes overtraining. We are just naturally built that way. If we've got the opportunity to run with blue skies and open trails, or we can jump on the bike, we can jump in the water, we're naturally going to want to do more. It just comes with the territory. But there are times when we need to check in with ourselves and not just be following the letter, the numbers on the program. It's having that ability to have that more individualized approach, understanding, caring approach to yourself. And whether you have a coach or you just have that better understanding about yourself in those moments, then so be it. But either way, today was a great opportunity for me and one of our SFE members to really understand the things he had got wrong in the past, and then how he can then flip that mindset, create a moment where he could pivot and move forward in a much more manageable way, move past this little speed bump, this little struggle point, get on top of the things in his life, and then crack on with the rest of the year and have a great successful year, instead of pulling up with some form of overtraining injury or burnout later on down the line, which is what he was giving symptoms to. He was literally saying that he was feeling like he was on the brink of burnout. So guys, I hope this potentially resonates with a number of you. It's something that I certainly resonate with. I'm guilty of just having a program in front of me and just wanting to crack on with it and just hit the numbers. But there are times when you're going to turn up and you're going to be very self-aware that life is having an impact. It's accumulating around you. And there's multiple stresses within our life that do accumulate, and they aren't visible when you're to a program that is just giving you more volume, more intensity. They're not taking into consideration that. That is why it's so important to have this type of dialogue with yourself or with others that you can be accountable to around you. So, food for thought. But guys, as always, anything around this type of this type of kind of mindset, this type of approach to your training, always happy to have a conversation to break down these kind of struggles, because it is a reoccurring cycle for a lot of people where they just find themselves on this cycle of and this is something that you can easily work through. It's just having that kind of more logical approach to it. All right, team, I'll speak to you soon.